is everybody doing? Welcome to the Night Crew. We've got current events and hot topics in the news. Glad to have our panelists here tonight, Angela Thomas Smith, Pamela Lucas, and Kim Wardell. Wow, I got all ladies tonight, it looks like. I tell you, I had to be on my best behavior, huh?
Yep. No.
All righty. Well, we shall go ahead and get started and see what's on the news, if that's okay with you all. All right. Here's one: youth speak out against the resumption of student loan payments. After more than a 3-year pause due to the pandemic, federal student loan payments resumed this month for tens of millions of American borrowers. Despite the desperate financial situation millions of borrowers find themselves in, President Joe Biden signed into law the requirement that all student loan accounts be reactivated. According to the Department of Education, there are more than 45 million student loan borrowers, but only 28 million of them will be required to immediately resume payments in October. The remaining 17 million will still have their accounts paused for reasons such as they are still in school and default or are waiting for their debt to be discharged. All outstanding balances will continue to accrue with interest as they have since September 1, after Congress agreed last May in the bipartisan deal to raise the federal debt ceiling to forbid any further extensions on the payment pause. Now, as you probably remember, it's been on hold for about 3 years. During the shutdown in 2020, they put a hold on all the student loans. They said it wouldn't have to pay on them and it wouldn't be accruing interest. And if you ever had a student loan debt, you know that's a big deal. I remember when I graduated, I had a lot of student loan payments, and I think it was about 20,000 when it started out. By the time I ended up getting them discharged when I got on disability, I think I was about $80,000. And there was no way I could pay that. And so it's kind of a big deal with a lot of people that get into it, and it's like they're held hostage with all these student loan debts. So it's a big deal. So what y'all think about that? Kim, you want to go first?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I'm telling you, and I just went back to school. I'm working on my master's degree, and I look at the price and the price between a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, the difference in how much one class costs, and then the amount that they charge on these loans are ridiculous. Like, I mean, I don't know how they expect people to to pay them back. I remember I had some loans from a previous school before they got discharged, and they was just ridiculous. Like, it started out, like you say, at one price, and then it ended up another price. And then at one point, I had allowed them to get in default, and they wanted to garnish my wages. So it's serious. And I tell people all the time, if you can get a grant, if you can do work study, whatever you can do to try to alleviate some of having to get a loan, please do that. Please do that. But it's something. But we have to get them. If we can't get the grants, then we have to get those loans if we want to go to school. Of course, if we can't pay for it, but if you can pay for it out your pockets, just go ahead and pay for it out your pocket.
Yeah. People think they're going to get a big paying job as soon as they get out of college just because they got a college degree. And it doesn't work that way. It's not that simple. Kim?
Well, and the thing is, like, unfortunately, the people who had these loans, they knew they had loans, right? I know there was a 3-year hold on the interest payments, on the payments completely, but they knew they had the loan. So, I mean, I understand. I completely get it. But some of them are just so really, they're just angry. And it's like, but you knew you had the loan. You knew they had to be paid back somewhere, at some point. But I think the big issue is right now is that everything is rising. Everything, the inflation rate of everything. And now they have these student loans on top of that. Right? So that's probably the biggest issue, is that everything else is rising and they still have to pay back these loans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you file bankruptcy, you still have to pay that loan. It does not work to file bankruptcy.
And that's the last thing you want to do, is file bankruptcy over a student loan. Right.
That's no good with a student loan. You still have to pay it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way I got mine forgiven was when I applied for permanent disability. And, and that was way up there when I was in my late 50s. So, like I said, it had accrued up to about $80,000 at that point, because it had been in default for a while. And a lot of times I had got a, what they call it, grace period or something. But anyway, it's ridiculous what you got to go through. But you're right, you get it, and you say, well, okay, I'll pay it. But like I said, people make the assumption that when they get that college degree, they're going to have a great job making all kinds of money, and it ain't that simple.
No,
That simple.
My daughter's going in right now for paramedic, and she's all excited about what they make. And I said, no. You cannot go in with that attitude. Lower it, about $20,000, $30,000, because that's how they get you with these little sparkles. You're not going to make that much. Lower it and don't think about that. You've been living on nothing for a while, trying to get all this done. So you're just, because you get these student loans and grants, thankfully, like Angela was saying, she got some grant. Like, until that's paid off, like, life doesn't exist.
Life doesn't exist when you're in college. Some ways you never have any money. Tamala, hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting here like I'm always encouraging people to not go to college. I said, if you don't have to go, don't go. Get a skill job, plumbing or something, because they making more money than those who's going to college, which is sad. It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
But I'm like this. If the government has money for war, you have money to pay half of the student loans. I mean, this is ridiculous. We giving the war billions and billions of dollars. Why can't you help your own people out?
Yeah.
And I mean, it just don't make any sense to me. And then too, I always encourage people. I said, there are a lot of jobs out here that will pay for you to go to college. So if we just start investigating and find out who will, pay our college loans for us. Because that's what my sister did. She worked at the hospital. So she didn't have to worry about all that stuff. So we have to learn how to be smarter when it comes to student loans and college and all that stuff, because I am a professional student and I went to school from 1990 all the way to 2018. So my student loans is up there. But my. So I just try to encourage people. I say, if you can do something different that does not require a student loan, don't get it, because it will count against you if you don't pay that loan off.
Yeah. So you paying student loans now?
Well, now, Google have a lot of programs now that you can take and get certified. And it's just like with getting these different certifications, it's just like having a college degree, because you can get these jobs that's going to be paying you the same much with a degree or without a degree. So like she say, I suggest anybody go to a trade school, because it's a lot cheaper, and some of it can be, you can pay for that. And then a lot of the programs now, if you're in a advanced high school, you're able to take college credits. You're able to take classes at a college while you're in school, what they call the dual program. So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people where they've come out of high school and been able to graduate out of high school and graduate with associate's degree at the same time. And then
Yeah.
you look into what field you are going in, because there are a lot of fields that too, after you graduate and you are working in that particular field for a while, they will what they call it, forgive your loan. They will forgive your loan. I know first offenders are one of first responders are one of the fields now that they are forgiving loans if you work there for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
School teachers are one. I know my pastor, he's a principal, and he been working as a school teacher and a principal for over 10 years, and he finally got his loans forgiven, $100 and something thousand worth of loans. But yeah, it depends on the field that you go in. You can get some of these things relieved. But I agree with Miss Kim when she say these people knew that they had these loans beforehand, so it's no need to get mad. You just gotta, if you gotta cut back, you gotta cut back and learn how to talk to them and negotiate different things, because they can lower your rates. You can get it deferred for a while if you need it deferred. You can get it deferred for a while. It's all about communication. We got to learn how to communicate. No need to get mad when we know that we caused this debt. We know we wanted to go to school. We know we went to school. No, it's got to be paid back.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just have to do what we got to do. Because I'm looking at I'm looking at this master's degree. It's double what I paid to get this bachelor's degree, and I'm like, did I just make a big mistake? Because I'm looking at that too. But yeah.
Now, Kim, do y'all have a free college in Canada?
Free? Oh my gosh.
Some country does. I thought it was Canada.
Cuba does.
Was it Cuba? Okay.
Cuba has free education all the way post-secondary. But no, there's nothing free in this country. Oh my gosh.
So we just need to send everybody to Cuba for college, right?
Yeah, our government's like yours, too busy sending money other countries for war, not taking care of their own veterans, their own people, their own homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on that one before we move on? Okay. Here we go. Newsom appoints abortion activist Maryland resident to Feinstein's California Senate seat. If you recall, she passed away last week. I think she was 90-some years old. California Governor Gavin Newsom has appointed a pro-abortion activist who resides in another state to Dianne Feinstein's U.S. Senate seat. In a statement posted Sunday, Newsom's office announced the appointment of LaFonza Butler to fill the U.S. Senate seat that became vacant upon the death of longtime Senator Dianne Feinstein, a Democrat from California, Friday. Butler, a Democrat, will serve until at least January the 3rd, 2025, when Feinstein's term is scheduled to expire. Newsom's office touted Butler's role as a president of Emily's List, an advocacy group that works to elect pro-abortion Democratic women to political office, as well as the fact that she is a Black lesbian who will become the first openly LGBT person to represent California in the U.S. Senate. I don't know about you all, but I'd never heard of LaFonza Butler until this. But come to find out, she helped Kamala Harris, Vice President, when she was running for office, and she also helped Hillary Clinton. So she's kind of a well-known Democrat, and apparently she's got a lot of political clout. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So what do y'all think?
Well, she's also a very, from from what I know about her. Now, she's a bull. She's a bully and a bull. So, she's very, very vocal on the abortion side. And I might get this wrong, so forgive me. I think it's her, who is one of the ones who are fine with abortion. Well, I don't know how they can call it abortion after birth. That's just murder. It's murder anyway, but you know what I'm saying. But up until the third term, even too, I think she's one of those advocates. So I don't know. It's just, I think that's the big deal with this, right? That she's an abortion advocate. Yeah. So, and she doesn't even come from that state, so I don't even get it.
That's weird. I didn't even think they could do that.
I didn't think they could do that either.
Yeah. Well, they seem to do a lot of things that we didn't think they could do, and
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
I mean, the fact that they have to say that she's a lesbian, that's,
Yeah.
it's par for the course right now, because everything and anything that, it has to be, it just has to be.
Yeah.
And then the one thing I'm going to mention on this here, which I don't understand, maybe I missed it, but why do they have to say she's a Black lesbian? Like, does it matter? I don't understand.
I think she's the first Black lesbian to take this position. I think that's what it is.
Oh, so they've had white and Asian lesbians before? I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Maybe you have to be a Black lesbian to understand that. I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, okay, so it's because she's the first
I
Black
think,
lesbian.
yeah.
They had to. They
Yeah.
had to put an LGBT in, because they have to. I mean, every position in the world has to put LGBT now.
Yeah.
That is just their way of just continuing to push that agenda. They want they put that out there like that so they can say, okay, well, this is okay. You got a representative in the government. She's openly.
Well, they're normalizing it.
We've had an openly gay. The first mayor of Chicago or Illinois or whatever it was up there, Lightfoot or whatever it name. But for them to just have to classify people, I don't get it. But yeah, I really never heard a lot about her either. So I don't have.
I just want to be known that for what I do, that I do well. Like if I do something really well, like if I'm in a parliament, if I'm whatever, I want to be known that I do that well. Not because I'm gay or not gay or what, you know what I mean? Like, can't somebody just be good at what they do?
Yeah.
And that's why they're hired? You're not hired because you're not good at what you do. I don't care who you are. Or you are hired because you're great at what you do. Like, can't it just be that again?
Well, they're pushing diversity at all levels, nowadays. So.
No, I agree with that. I mean, it had to change. It had to change, but people should just be good at it, and that's why we hire them.
Yeah.
But that's not the world we live in.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what do you think, Tamla?
Like I said, who cares what she does behind the closed doors? I don't care. Can she do the job? I had when my children were babies, their doctor was a lesbian, but she never said, I'm a lesbian. She never said it. The way she looked, you could tell she was kind of bush. But anyway, she was a good doctor. She took care of my babies. And when she left the hospital, I got sick, because everybody is not going to treat your child right. And I remember when my son was, I think he was 10 or 11, and he was in a ball on the floor for a whole week, and I rushed him to the emergency, and they sent him home to my, he's okay, this will pass. And I'm looking at him, and he was turning blue and purple, and And so I took them back, but on my way there, I started praying. I said, Lord, give me somebody who cares, because a lot of people, they get these jobs and they just want a paycheck. They don't care about your child. And so when we get him back to the hospital, a young girl, I don't know what she do behind the doors, but she was like 25 years old, a young doctor. She took care of my son to make sure he didn't leave this earth. His appendix ruptured. So I just want somebody that's going to be in office, that's going to do right by the people. I don't care what you do behind closed doors. Just push that on me. Who
Exactly.
cares what you do? Because like I said before, gay people been here for years, but they weren't blunt like, oh, you know, you better hire me because I'm gay, and you better treat me right because I'm gay. They never did it. They just lived their life. And I just wish we can get to that. I mean, but the reason why it's strong like this is because the enemy is trying to make sure he slap God in his face over and over again. That's why they keep on saying that, because it's a slap in the face.
Yeah. It's definitely a different world than what it was 10 years ago, huh? All right, let's see what's next. Almost no Armenians left in Nagorno-Karabakh suffering months after Azerbaijan's takeover. If y'all remember last week, they had this resurgence of the war over there, and there was a lot of people killed. And now the Azerbaijanis, or whatever they call themselves, have made the ethnic Armenians flee. It says nearly all ethnic Armenians have fled Nagorno-Karabakh following Azerbaijan's military occupation. A humanitarian crisis appears to be building with rising numbers of refugees, injuries, and arrests. Nazili Bagdasaryan, spokesperson for Armenia's prime minister, revealed the number of forcibly displaced persons from Nagorno-Karabakh reached 100,417 as of Saturday morning, about a week after Azerbaijan regained control over the breakaway region following a military offensive, according to Armenian press. Many of the 100,000 people are hungry, exhausted, and needing immediate assistance, UNHCR Representative Kavidi Balani said in a statement. People are tired. This is a situation where they've lived under 9 months of blockade. When they come in, they're full of anxiety, they're scared, they're frightened, and they want answers as to what's going to happen next. I really feel sorry for these people. Now, can you imagine? I mean, 100,000 people. Can you imagine if the city you live in were attacked by some enemy army and everybody in your city just had to leave immediately, pack up everything you own? If you don't have a car, you just go. And most of them are just walking for sometimes hundreds of miles just to find a place where they can live, period, just live and get back to Armenia. And it's kind of like the southern border here in the United States. You know, people just fleeing for their life, and they have to go somewhere where they can just live. And it's really, really sad. So who wants to take that one first? Angela?
Yeah, I think it's just sad. It's sad, and their government need to be doing something about it. But of course, they probably was the ones that got all of the hands in it and causing all of this. But it's just sad that people be displaced and hungry and just roaming and gotta leave. It's sad. I just don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. Like we don't like we forget why we here. Like we see stuff and it's like we just don't want to see the next person try to help the next person. Like I'm sure that whatever the issue is there, that somebody can come to some type of resolution. Like it's just crazy. And people keep getting pushed out of their own countries. Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at something the other day, all those people that's down on the at the border of the United States and Mexico, and how that border is right now. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But it's always got to do with money, I guess. It all boils back to money and power.
And power, yeah. We'll see, because a lot of this, it's really strange. There's a few moving parts to this. You know, if I think they said in the next little while, they're probably going to have to disband the place because everybody's leaving. There's nobody there. So they're going to be, I can't remember if they use the word disband or disintegrators, but it's going to disband because there's no people. And so they did get to the point where they were promising them, okay, you know, we're going to give you religious freedoms. We're even going to let you use Armenian there. You can speak the language if you want. We'll give you security. But the residents, they're so skeptical. They're like, no, because it's the Armenians are calling it ethical cleansing, right?
Yeah.
So now they're saying, no, come, you can even speak Armenian. We'll give you security. And they're just saying, no, obviously this is a bunch of, crap. We're just leaving. We're leaving. So there's nobody there anymore. And here's another piece of that moving puzzle that just doesn't make sense. Kind of like what you're saying, Angela, like power and greed take over. There's nobody there for you to control. But yet the evil mind can't see that. It's just so blinded that it's like, well, okay, we've offered you this and you're not going to take it. And they just keep pounding and pressuring and pounding. You don't have anybody anymore. So your evil mind can't even see that you're losing control, trying to keep the control, right? Like they're all traveling that 300 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles to get to Armenia, right? And because the war started a while back, though. It didn't just start now, right on the borders, like a while back. And it just keeps going and perpetuating. But it's just really strange how this government is flip-flopping and they're just blinded by their own. It's just evil, right? The enemy just blinds them.
It is.
And I always say the enemy. I blame most things on the enemy. So.
At one time, all of these countries in that area was part of the Soviet Union. And even for a long time now, the Russians have supposedly been protecting the Armenians in the place that they got kicked out of. But Russia, of course, is mighty busy right now fighting NATO. So they just kind of let the Armenians slide and left them on their own. So that was a mess.
Yeah, and there's really been no international aid here, right? Like a lot of people don't know what's happening, and that's the thing. It's just they're political moves, right? They're like pawns. This country's not in the mix right now. That nobody cares about them right now because it's not part of the political game.
Yeah.
Right? It's every year we have something. Every year we have some country that happens to, but right now this little country is of no concern to the power players.
Yeah.
There's no international aid. There's no international, people don't even know about it.
Yeah. That's the reality we live in, unfortunately. Anything else on this?
Was that the horn saying we're done with this topic?
And I don't even have my window open. Actually, that's a pickup truck that goes by here sometime and blows that horn. It sounds like a train. And if you're walking by him when he does that, he scares the crap out of you.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This one's one that really ticked me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
FBI warns about global satanic pedophile cult seeking to destroy Judeo-Christian Western society. Nothing subtle about that, huh? The FBI has issued a public warning about violent online groups that target minors on messaging platforms and encourage them to live stream acts of self-harm and produce child sexual abuse material. The warning comes after the discovery of a satanic cult. The agency learned about the group after the arrest of Angel Almeida, a 23-year-old resident of Astoria, Queens, on gun possession charges in November 2021, according to The Guardian. The groups target minors between the ages of 8 and 17, particularly those with mental health issues, the FBI said, adding they use threats, blackmail, and manipulation to get their victims to record or live stream self-harm, sexually explicit acts, and even suicide. The footage is then circulated among members to extort victims further and exert control over them. Now, talking about evil, now there is evil. There is evil. I'm a little bit confused. It said the gun possession charges were in November 2021, but this article was in today's news, so I don't understand that part. But evidently, it's still going on and has been going on for quite a while, I guess, is what they're saying.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this really ticks me off because they didn't just discover this in 2021 when they arrested this guy. They knew about this group. They were watching them before this. Then this kid got arrested in 2021, and they're only putting out the warning now about this group. He got arrested 2 years ago. Why are they putting up a warning to the public now? Why is it taking so long? This is not, okay, he's 23 years old. I think some of the youngest members are 17 years old. This is not just like a little kiddie group. This is a massive, massive evil cell that, they have members all over the world. So the fact that they just put out this warning now really ticks me off.
Yeah, me too.
Because, with this whole thing, everything with all these sex trafficking going on, we know that there are huge, huge, huge influencers in the game. And I call it a game, which is kind of sick, but to them it is a game.
Yeah.
One thing it doesn't mention on this one that you have here, Steve, which is even more sick, they have them also not just self-harm, some even actually to the death, committing suicide and videotaping themselves, doing acts, sexually explicit acts on younger people, younger kids, but also animals. It's not mentioned on this one, but there are a lot of articles that mention it. And it's really, I don't know if you guys have heard of this or not. It's really sick, and it's what is it? Fascism, right? Like they're neo-Nazis, right? I believe they're like an extreme violent following, and it's been going on for a while. And I don't know why they say that they learned of it when they caught him in 2021, because that's a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, I heard somebody say recently, if you want to be misinformed, read the news. If you want to be disinformed, read the news. If you want to be misinformed, don't. So take your pick or something like that.
Yeah.
Child sacrifice has been going on for years, and it's because a lot of people think if they go ahead and take the child's soul, they will get more power. So this basically, it comes back to power again. And in Ohio alone, the FBI finally said something, because from January to now, 1,000 children in Cleveland, Ohio is missing. 1,000, not two, not 1,000. They waited till 1,000 children disappear,
Yep.
and now they want to say something. So the child sacrifice has been going on for years, but it's getting worse. And I was a helicopter parent. I need to know where my child was going, who the person is. If I didn't know you, my child was not going over your house. I didn't care if you was a relative, if I didn't trust you, because no, I just want to scream, like, where are the parents? I know a lot of us had to work, and we don't have the family structure like we used to have, where you can leave the children with somebody safe, like grandma or auntie. We don't have that structure anymore, but we got to do better.
Well, this group actually preyed on a lot of the downcast, right? Like, sort of like what gangs do. That's exactly what gangs do. They prey on certain people because they know they can get them. But this group, they really got busy on not social media, like gaming places. Those gamers, like parents, they just give their kids those devices and they walk up and they don't even realize, Puppy Paws, that Paw Patrol, that kids game. Even on games like that, they have men, women infiltrating, and they get them on that. They get a lot of the LGBT community. They get a lot of down and out like people. But I mean, they get other kids too.
TikTok, Snapchat.
Everything.
They get a lot of people that don't socialize. They use those games to socialize and all of that. I mean, that's how they've been getting our babies for the longest. We give these kids these games, we put them in front of it. And we know what these predators are on these games and on there lurking for these kids, because they know, number one, a lot of people that are different and classified different with the mental illness and so on. This is what a lot of them run to, because they have socializing problems and they're not able to get out and socialize. So they go there. And then when they made these games that allow you to be able to go live and play against each other, you don't know who your babies are talking to on these game systems if you're not right there with them. Because it's been times when I've heard my nephew talking to someone. I'm like, who are you talking to? He's like, oh, I'm talking to my cousin. And then I'm like, well, who was this other person talking? Because it's somebody else. They say somebody else. He said, I don't know who that is. So different people can be out in the game room and you don't know who all these people are. And I was watching something on YouTube. There was a guy, a father, son killed himself because someone had asked him to send some explicit pictures, and then they tried to blackmail him with those pictures, and he ended up committing suicide. And this is what's happening with a lot of these gaming systems and social media and a lot of these places. Babies come out the wombs, we want to give them the cell phone, we want to give them the tablets, we want to give all that to raise our babies. Because we don't want to spend time with them. We don't want to do the things that we need to. So we have to stop allowing social media and gaming systems to raise our kids. Your kid not socializing, your kid got problems, and you got to learn how to put them in programs, get them at them, get them socializing, get them away from these games. Get back involved. Like, where's your child at right now? Do you know where your child at right now?
Well, and to be fair,
tap into what Apostle Tamala was saying about the missing kids. If you think about, I don't know if you know about that whole 85 corridor, and that's what 85 run all the way up and down from Florida, all the way up through South Carolina, North Carolina, all the way up. They call it the 85 corridor, and they have one of the highest rate of human trafficking. They just not started talking about it over the last 3 or 4 years, but it's been going on for years. in years and years. This stuff has not just started happening, because if you look at some of these TV shows that's been out for years, like Law and Order, they've been talking about this stuff. They've been talking about it. So how are they able to talk about these things if they have not already been happening? Now you think about how long Law and Order been out, and then you think about The Simpsons. A lot of the stuff that The Simpsons talked about on their show, they're not even on there no more. But a lot of the stuff that they talked about on their show, you see it happening right now.
Yeah.
So that means that it's been happening. It just hadn't, we just hadn't noticed it. But a lot of this stuff is happening right before our eyes, but we just don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 1,000 kids, as Tamela said, and now they're saying something. Maybe it's because they can't hide it now. Right? Now it's starting to be where they can't hide it. Just like in Hawaii, 1,500 kids go missing, and nobody knows where these kids are. Nobody knows where these kids are. And then there's people saying
that's just like all the kids. What happened to all the kids that was at the border? What happened to all those kids that was at the border? Nobody's talking about that. So it's a lot of kids missing right now. You talk about in Washington, D.C. alone. We talk about Washington, D.C. alone. How many kids go missing in the DMV area? How many kids are missing?
Hollywood.
I bet you it's
Hollywood.
double what Apostle Tamela just said. You can look it up and watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hollywood too. Like they got all this, what is that thing that it's not new, but it's coming. Everything, the devil is doing everything right in front of our eyes and make it as entertainment, right? What is that thing? It's not new, but it's new coming out about the blood of the kids, right? Like all the Hollywood people are like, putting it in their creams now, and they're doing, because it's supposed to make you youthful and all this kind of. It's just
the placenta.
Not the placenta. It's
millennia.
I can't remember what it's called.
Melanin.
I'm gonna Google it right now. What are children? But it's this thing.
They're going crazy about melanin. They're going crazy about melanin. They and yeah, melanin is what they're going crazy about right now. It keeps you young.
Adrenochrome.
What
if
is
you
called?
Google that, adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
ADRENO chrome. CHROME. If you Google that later, adrenochrome. It's a big thing now. With kids' blood.
What does it do?
Well, apparently it's supposed to be like this. If they harvest kidnap all these kids, and and their blood, it keeps you vital. It keeps you young. I don't know. It's just this thing, and they started calling it a conspiracy theory all these conspiracy theorists are saying this, but you hear Hollywood talking about it right underneath our nose all the time.
Well, that's
right?
like they were saying that afterbirth, they were stealing women's afterbirth.
Yeah, that too.
Right.
That was a
and
while
they was
back
using
too.
that for something. Right? That was good for something. So you was hearing for a while, and they weren't talking about it, but you was hearing there was cases here and there where women were getting attacked, and they was cutting their babies out their stomachs.
It's huge money.
Cases like that.
Huge money. Women's afterbirth.
It's just a lie.
Oh, it's true. It's huge money. But I just want to go back to this 23-year-old for a second. He got caught because he was posting on social media. And see, that's what power does to you sometimes. You can't keep it in. You need everybody to worship you and honor you and glorify you, right? And he was, there's this picture of him, and I think he's got a pipe of some sort in his mouth, blowing out the smoke, and he's got the gun in his hand, and he just looks like this little punk. He's 23 years old, and he's part of this master ring, global ring in a satanic cult. Like, it's disgusting. And they say that they're going to take over even space someday. Like, it's going to turn in. Their whole thing is that they're going to get rid of all the Christians. And they're just going to take over the world. I can't remember what they called it. We've heard it before. It's nothing new. But they're also going to start, even going into space and taking over them. They're really just They're brainwashed. But it's not one or two, it's a massive organization. But I just want to go back to that kid because he's 23 years old and he's part of this major evil ring. Isn't that crazy? The youngest one is 17, and I think the oldest one was so far in like 68 or 70 or something. Well, that's probably another thing.
As Satan loses in the end, Jesus Christ prevails.
Amen. Before you go on to the next one, we're talking about, taking kids and where's your kids, and I was watching breakfast television today. This is a breakfast news thing for us here in the morning for Toronto area. And they have a tech section all the time, right? Like new cameras and blah, 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 blah. And they have these new glasses. And I mean, we have glasses already that have cameras in them. We know that, right? But it's been improved, new and improved. So these glasses, they're selling it. The marketing is so that, if you go on a ride like Disneyland, right? You're in Disney World or Disneyland, put the glasses on and it takes the whole video for you. So you're not like shaking your camera or losing, and that's how they're marketing these new glasses, that they can just watch and videotape everything. Like how? And all we know around the world, all these kids disappearing. And now that they're marketing, these glasses where you can just kind of go and videotape and, they're marketing it like it's some fun thing. And I'm watching that today and I'm like, wow, that's really sick. Like, that's really sick. Anyway, I just had to add that. Just watch out for those glasses.
Yeah. They've also got something out now. I forget what they're called. Implants they put in people's brains, people that are like paraplegic. They put these implants in their brains and they can watch something on the computer screen, and with their mind, they can control the computer screen.
Yeah.
I think it's good to think those people can do that, but it sounds
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay, what's next? There we go. Right along those lines. 6th grade teacher, college professor, among 160 arrested in Ohio human trafficking bust in your neighborhood, Tamala. An elementary school teacher, a college professor, and a pair of U.S. Air Force members are among 160 people charged in a statewide human trafficking crackdown in Ohio, the state's top prosecutor said Tuesday. The arrests began September 25 and lasted through Saturday. They took place in every corner of the state, including in and around Columbus, Cleveland, Toledo, Akron, Youngstown, Marietta, and Portsmouth. It was a concerted effort to stem the demand that fuels human trafficking, Yost said, pointing to the involvement of nearly 100 law enforcement agencies and human service organizations across the Buckeye State. The Attorney General's Ohio Organized Crime Investigations Commission led the operation. Now I see this and I'm thinking, well, it's good that they got some of these people, but again, that goes back to what we've been saying. This is nothing new. It's been going on forever. And every now and then, I think they just give us these little tidbits here to help us all to believe that they're still doing something about it. But as we all know, this is not a drop in the bucket. It's not a drop in the bucket. So, have you heard a lot about this, Tamala, on your local news?
Yes, they've been talking about it all week. They've been talking about it. And I think about the show called Big Sky. Big Sky, it was about human trafficking, and they couldn't figure out who these people were doing. When the investigators started really investigate, they found out it was bigger than what they could imagine because it was going to the top. Like, why can't we stop this? We are arresting these group of people, but it's still going on. The sheriff was involved. Everybody was involved when it comes to the show called Big Sky. and I guess it took it off because it got too real for everybody. But that's I just want to scream, because it's hard to stop something when you know it's a whole bunch of principalities that's working together to continue keep this going on. It's a money making thing. You can get a whole bunch of money selling children. So people don't want to lose money, and I think a lot of them got arrested. They probably didn't pay somebody. And that person said, "You know what? I'm coming after all of y'all." I mean, that's what happens sometimes when you don't agree with somebody or you make somebody mad. That's when they tell on you, because these people been doing this for years. So.
Yeah.
Look how many people were involved with the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, and to what level. We're talking millionaires, billionaires, politicians, actors, and all kinds of people. And
Yeah.
just because he's dead and the lady helping him is in prison doesn't mean that all that stopped.
Oh, it didn't stop. No.
Stepped in to fill that vacuum.
And we can't even get a list of his clients. Like, why? Why? Because that list, lots of lives on the line there, man. Like, they can do some extraordinary things in this world, but they can't get that list because everybody wants it.
Countries on that list.
I mean, everybody's on it. Presidents of the United States, prime ministers of countries, like everybody, kings, royalty, everybody.
Yeah.
It's not a secret.
Yeah, that list will never come out. Never.
And they put these little things, and I agree with you, Steve. Sometimes I feel like they put some of these little tidbits out there for us so that we can feel like, okay, they're doing something about it at least. This is just to take our minds off the bigger picture, right? Like, I don't trust them at all. So everything to me is a, like, oh, okay, what's really going on? Because this, no, what? I can't see it. Can you scroll up for just a second on the beginning of this?
Sure.
Did they say 1,000? Was that 1,000, or was that something we just talked about a second ago?
160 people charged. Okay. Please, there's the whole state. So that's, that is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, it's never, unfortunately, it's never going to stop. It's been around since, ancient of days.
That picture there is kind of creepy, isn't it?
It is. Have you guys seen the movie Sound of Freedom?
No, I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's good. I think, Angela, by your smile, I think you might have seen it.
I've heard good things about it.
That's good. The guy, the producer, director, whomever it is, he went on and he was saying, he's had so many life threats. Like, if he goes through with this, he said, he probably will end up dead because of it, but he felt he needed to do it. So, and yeah, it's going on. It's going on. It was just another Epstein Island,
All righty. What's next on the list? Okay, Trump trial day 2. Yeah, we can't not talk about that one, right? That's the elephant in the room. Former President Donald Trump came face to face with New York Attorney General Letitia James again Tuesday as he returned to a Manhattan courtroom for the second day of his trial on civil charges alleging he and his company falsified business and personal records for financial gain. Trump, the Trump Organization, several executives, and 2 of his children, Donald Jr. and Eric, are the defendants in the civil trial in New York Superior Court. They will not face any jail time if found liable, since the charges are civil in nature, not criminal. Trump voluntarily appeared for the first day of the trial on Monday, where a packed crowd gathered to observe the proceedings outside the courtroom. He harshly criticized James and Gorin over the case, which he called a witch hunt and a disgrace. Yeah, he calls everything a witch hunt. Anything that involves him. So, there's no doubt in my mind and probably most people's mind that he's a criminal. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but that's just me and 300 million other people. Anyway, what y'all think about that? Would you rather have him over Trudeau, Kim?
I would.
Would you?
Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. It's kind of funny because I'm kind of confused about my own self. Like I have like two people in my brain. Our first time I was on your show, I talked about Trump, right? And there's no doubt he's a misogynistic, I could say a lot of bad words about this guy. Okay. Racist, misogynist, like he's just that guy. But the other part of my brain lately has been like, like I'm not saying I'm a Trump fan, but something in me lately has been like, I'm probably going to get like hate mail. Something in me is like, because so much that we forget, right? We forget some of the stuff he said. We remember all the bad things he said. A lot of the stuff he said is coming to fruition now. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things he said that people were doing, they're now getting charged for doing, but nobody believed him. A lot of things he said was going on is now coming out that was going on. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Trump.
What are you referring to?
I'm trying to think about it. Like, I'm trying to remember because I shouldn't have said it if I can't come up with anything with it now. But there's some things I should have written them down. And it's like, oh my gosh, Trump did say that. Oh my gosh, Trump did say that. There's a lot of bad things he said, but and it's the way he says them, I think. I really do commend him for wanting to, make America good again. And it's the way he says things, though. He's just, for such an intelligent man, he's pretty stupid. He really is.
I'm creepy.
He's creepy. Like there's not I can say a lot of bad things about this guy, but my brain lately, maybe it's because it's the fun, it's the joy I'm getting out of watching this cartoon of politics because I've never paid attention to politics prior to the last few years. And I think it's like a cat and mouse game. And I'm watching this like I'm watching a cartoon. Maybe that's why my brain is like laughing. And part of me is like, come on, Trump, give it to them, stick it to them, because I just hate the governments right now. So I want somebody to stick it to them. And Trump seems to be the only one who's got, who can do it. And so all of them will collapse together. I don't know. I just think it's so funny that it's not even funny.
Yeah, sometimes I think of politics kind of like I do professional wrestling. It's just a bunch of characters playing a part, doing their little acting, pretending that it's real.
Yes.
It's all planned out in advance, and
everybody's eyes are like, okay, what's Trump going to do? Is he going to take another break? Like, how many breaks can he take during a court session? Like, it's just like watching a TV comedy, but it's real life. And it's, if it was us, we would be locked away forever and the key thrown away. But like, it's such a farce that I find myself interested in Trump right now. Not because I would say, hey, let him be, but would I rather him over than Trudeau, you ask me? Absolutely. Trudeau's an evil, evil man.
Well, what do you think, Tamala?
Well, I remember when he was on Oprah doing an interview, and she asked him, would you run for president? He said, I really don't want to. He said, but if I do, he was a Democrat at the time. He said, if I do, I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to become a Republican, because if I become a Republican, it doesn't matter what I do. I can stay in the middle of the street of New York and shoot everybody down, and the Republicans will still be on my side. And he's telling the truth. He told the truth about that, because he's saying that no matter what he do, he said no matter what he do, the Republicans going to stick together. And it don't matter what he do, they can see it. They can see with their own eyes, and they still gonna stick with him. He said that on Oprah, and I was like, wow, and he has said some horrible things. And when a lot of people said make America good again, when was America ever good? Especially for Black people, when was America ever good? Because one thing about the Black community, even though a lot of people, that's why they're trying to get rid of the books, and they have. A lot of states in the United States have gotten rid of all the books because they don't want you to talk about slavery. We are allowed to talk about the Holocaust, but we're not allowed to talk about slavery. And so if you mention it in the classroom, you can actually lose your job and might get arrested. But lately, there have been a lot of teachers here making the little Black children stand in front of the classroom with cotton and say, "What would you do if you picked cotton?" I mean, it's all right to humiliate the children, but it's not all right to say, "I don't appreciate you saying this and doing this to me." And that's what Trump has done over and over again, even when he had different meetings, and he threw a Black man out because a Black man did not agree with him. He said, back in the day, this would not have happened, So he plays with people's emotions and had people laughing and giggling, and woo, but under Trump, and a lot of people don't understand. I'm a history buff. I pay attention to everything. When Trump was in office, a lot of people were lynched, and and people are still not talking about that. But they were showing pictures of people being hung on the bridges and everything. They were being lynched when Trump was in office, but they throw that under the rug and say, "Shh, be quiet, don't talk about that." And so when it comes to Republicans, he told the truth. No matter what he do, they are going to be on his side, and and the government is scared because when they arrested him for 1 hour, and they released him because he had already told them. He said, "Go ahead and mess with me, and I got my people ready." And that's what he said. He said, and they know that, so they are terrified right now because he said January 6th ain't nothing compared to what's going to happen next if I don't get in office, and they are afraid.
And he means that. Yeah. What you think, Angela?
I didn't hear you. What you say?
So what do you think about it?
Y'all said something to me. I didn't hear y'all.
I said, what do you think about this?
Oh, I my mind is all over the place right now. I just don't have no. I try not to get in talking about Trump because he aggravates me sometimes. So I don't want to talk about it.
They'll just implode each other.
And I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's like,
Okay. Well, we've covered all of our topics. But did you notice today that McCarthy got ousted? Did y'all notice that? Did you hear that?
no?
Yeah.
Yep. It's because he sided with the Democrats. He's supposed to be Republican, and they tell all the Republicans, "I don't care if the person do cartwheels, flips. I don't care if they wrong. You stay on our side." And he agreed with the Democrats, and they said, "Okay, you're not on our side. You're trying to be two-faced." So yeah, they said, "We're going to get you out." And he laughed with arrogance. And he said, "I want to see you do it," and they did. So hey.
And real quick, it didn't take them long, did it? Done it all in one day.
So this is your Speaker of the House?
Yeah.
Well, that's just not like what just happened down there in Texas with the Attorney General, and they acquitted him from being impeached. And the reason why they acquitted him from being impeached is because the the people that was backing him, that got him elected, he made it known that if he get impeached, that a lot was about to change. That if you wouldn't for him, they don't care who you was. If you were them two GOPs that went against, that voted against him, watch, they about to get it. I'm telling you. I guarantee you they won't be getting a second term or a third term, or when election come up again. I guarantee you they won't be in there. And they made it known who they were.
Interesting.
I mean, they blessed it all over the place. And this man, he guilty of all that they say he did. I mean, it's in plain sight. I mean, how much clearer can it be? How much clearer can you say corruption, adultery, and you got, I mean, it ain't like you ain't got no receipts. You got receipts, but you still acquit them. That just speaks for the government in the state of Texas. I mean, they've been corrupt for years. You want to talk about decades? We're going to talk about decades. We need to talk about years, because this go back 2, 3, 4 decades of how long these people been corrupt and what's been going on. So when these people say you ride with who you got to string along with them puppets when they pulling your string. If they get you in office, you got to do what they say do. I'll go back to the elite and these people that's in control. It's 13 families that run this world, and we got to realize that. Whether we want to accept it or not, it don't matter what we do in this world. Them 13 families got a hold on all of us at the end of the day. And we can say what we want. A lot of this stuff that's happening, we look at a lot of this stuff that's happening, and we think that, we can do something about it. Then why ain't we doing nothing about it in plain sight? Like, it's in black and white, and we won't do nothing about it. Why? Because we don't have the power to.
We can come on here and we can complain about all of it. We can tell everybody what they ought to do if they just listen. So, yeah.
I find it really interesting. I find it's just interesting to me. I don't really know much about McCarthy because he's American Speaker of the House, but he got ousted. Our Speaker of the House just resigned. Our Speaker of the House, like I said the other day, I think it's kind of like a little bit of a setup too, because he was really trying to get the unredacted files. But McCarthy also, from what I know, he was also trying to launch an impeachment against Biden. So it's kind of strange that both Speaker of the House were doing something to go against the government, and now they're both out. So I don't know his story, like you're saying, Angela, but it's kind of interesting to me that both are ousted and they both tried to do the same. That's kind of meh.
Well, the Republicans got mad because they wanted this shutdown to stick. And he agreed with the Democrats and said, give it 45 days. And they said, no, we don't want 45 days. We want that shutdown. And because he agreed with the Democrats, they said, oh, he got to get out of here. Because in 45 days, if we don't come up with something, it's going to be a shutdown.
And that's what we talked about last time, right? The government's not getting paid. Right. I can't remember. That's crazy.
Well, that's politics.
That is politics, yeah. Yep.
Well, we've covered a lot of stuff, so let's go ahead and do our plugs. Everybody tell us what's going on with you. Angela, you want to go first? Angela?
Hers is always a little bit behind, I think.
Yeah.
Her sound.
Angela?
It's some kind of delay going on. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. It was something going on with my internet. I couldn't hear you.
Go ahead.
I heard Angela, but I didn't hear nothing else.
Go ahead and get your plug in before we get started.
Okay, so once again, I have enjoyed you guys. I enjoy every opportunity I get to come on and just to share my perspective and to share what insight I have on whatever the topic may be. I am Angela Thomas Smith, affectionately known as the Queen of Collaboration across these social media platforms. I am visionary behind the Crew Podcast and Aspiring Authors Magazine. believe in being the change that I desire to see in this world. So that is me. And of course, if you would like to support me, follow me, check me out, you can check me out at Linktree, Queen of Collaborations.
All right. Pamela?
I am the pastor of Come Home, Stop Talking About It. It's an outreach ministry. We just try to be there for folks and take them places and do whatever to help them. I'm also an author. I have books on Amazon. I'm a gospel singer. I have one single out. I'm trying to get the rest of my singles out. So I'm just excited to be here. Thank you for allowing me to come and get my little 2 cents in.
All right. Thank you for being here. Kim?
Me too. Thank you for allowing me to be here, get my 2 cents in. I can't get my 2 cents in anywhere else. Nobody ever listens to me. No, I'm just kidding. So I love this that I just get to give my opinions. But I am the host of This Is Your City podcast. It is everybody has a story to tell. And we are all community that makes up this beautiful tapestry. And all around the world, interesting stories, interesting people. And I just love to hear stories because we all have one. We just need to listen. So I had let it sleep for about a year, bringing it back out now. And just ready to interview a bunch of interesting people around the world.
Now, is this going to be on YouTube?
I do have it on YouTube. Yes, it is. I have it on audio and visual. So it's on anywhere that podcast is being streamed. You can find me. It is on podcast. It is on YouTube. And I have anywhere from, somebody spent 16 years in prison for the rape and murder of his classmate, only to be exonerated from DNA. He didn't do it.
Wow.
From just mental health, anything and everything in between. Doctors around the world, famous singers, actors. So, yeah.
Okay. Sounds kind of like what I do with Friday Night Conversations. I talk to everybody. So,
Yep.
anyway, thank you. You can find out about me at steveholder2020.com if you want to. And my book, The Dark Truth, The Chilling Story of Summer Wells' Disappearance, is still available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all the leading websites. And me and Kentucky Guy are getting ready to start a brand new podcast starting Monday called Two Dudes on the Back Porch. Going to be discussing wrestling. So,
Wrestling.
have fun. So,
That'll be fun.
we should turn in, right? Tune in. All righty. Well, thank you, ladies. It's been nice. Glad you're here. Hope to see you soon. Have a nice week. God bless, and thanks everybody for tuning in to the Night Crew. Have a blessed week, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye. Take care.